Okay, g'day, Gold Derby. We are here with Chelsea Peretti, and let's just start off by asking about the big sort of ending to season one of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Gina and Charles waking up together. What was your reaction when you sort of found out that was how they were ending the season?
I'm still recovering from the fact that you said both G'day and Jeaner. I've never heard it said that way, so that's good to know. What was my reaction? Like, when I read the script, I was certainly surprised. They said they had this in mind from the beginning, but I had no idea. So I was, in the makeup trailer, and people are like, "Have you read the script?" And I'm like, "No, why?" And, I was very surprised to find myself in bed with Charles.
Yeah. Do you like that direction that the show's taken?
That specific direction, or
Yeah,
just in general?
that specific direction.
I mean, I don't know. I'm very curious to hear how the writers explain what led these two people to this point. I mean, there is that whole thing of like, schoolyard kind of taunting, and then that's who you have a crush on. But I don't know. I feel like Gina would know if she was into Charles, so I'm very curious what they'll do with it. I
Yeah,
mean, go ahead.
I was quite interested that the show took that direction. I don't think it's necessarily a bad one, but like when it came to office romances on the show, they've been quite restrained and held back quite a bit with Peralta and Santiago and Charles and Rosa and stuff. They sort of held back a lot from that, and then they sort of just threw us out at the very end, which is sort of exciting to see where that takes us.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I will say that I think that Gina does seem like the kind of person who makes rash decisions or has poor judgment at times. So, I mean, I think there's obviously a lot of ways that they could explain what happened. And, it's not even clear if we've actually consummated, All that we know is we woke up together and are concerned that may have happened, but, it could be any number of things. So I think it's really yet to be seen what they've even set up.
Yeah. And look, we've got a really let's switch gears a bit to the Golden Globes, which was a huge night for Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You took out comedy series, Andy won lead actor. It was just a sort of big coup for a show that was relatively small at that point. What was just that whole experience like for you?
It was very, the way I could describe it, it was like having like 10 surprise parties at once, because I really did feel it was one of the best nights of my life, which I would never have predicted, but it just was so fun, and it was so unexpected that it really was like, I feel like a once-in-a-lifetime feeling of just like, none of us thought, well, I didn't, and I know many of us didn't think we were going to get a Golden Globe, and it just didn't seem. I've watched it on TV so many years, it didn't seem at all possible I'd be walking up on that stage. I didn't even know if we were supposed to walk up there or not. I mean, no one had said, here's what's going to happen if you win, so we were all just, people left their purses on the table, and like, so it was just really exciting. It felt, I don't want to use the word surreal, because I feel like actors say that word all the time, but it didn't feel real.
Yeah. And the interesting, like at a award show like that is, correct me if I'm wrong, but you sort of go back to filming the next week or so. So you sort of come back on set with this Golden Globe high.
Yeah, the next day, actually, I believe. I feel like I had like a 6 a.m. call time or something crazy after the Golden Globes. So, I mean, I think a lot of us were like, well, we'll just have to be tired, because this is too cool of a night. But yeah, we were pretty tired on set, but yes, everyone just, it's like every single person in our cast and crew felt like the belle of the ball the next day. We're just all smiling, and, it was definitely, spirits were high.
Mm. And I guess, how did you come, Chelsea, to work on Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Well, I auditioned for the show and, did a whole series of auditions and tested for it, but I also wrote for Parks and Recreation for 2 seasons, and through that I knew Mike and Dan, the creators of this show. I had actually quit as a writer a little bit before to try to focus on the performing side and do my stand-up. So when they offered it to me, I was, the audition, I was very interested.
And I believe you got 2 Writers Guild nominations for Parks, didn't you, while you were doing stuff for them?
Probably did, yeah, I do remember. I remember sitting at round tables, so I think that was...
Oh my God.
I have a very bad memory.
And you also had a bit of a background in stand-up and things like that. How has that sort of prepared you and helped you with your stuff on Brooklyn?
I think that, I wasn't someone who had success right out of the gate, and so I think I would be a classic instance of someone who's paid their dues. I really have, done, there's always a whole continuum of I could have paid more dues, but, I think that I'm really thankful that I had the experience that I have in comedy, and I feel like I know so many people, and I've seen the lay of the land as a writer, and I just felt like I had a lot of information going into this job that helped me, and I feel like I know who I am comedically in particular, but also, on a deep spiritual level. So I think I felt really ready as I could.
With someone who's sort of done comedy, with someone who's done writing and things like that, on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, either through improv or other means, do you sort of contribute at all in a way that you otherwise wouldn't be able to, or?
Well, I certainly am comfortable in the world of improv. For Kroll Show, for example, we do a ton of that there, and but obviously this show is very tightly scripted, and we get great lines going into it that you read it and it sounds exactly like the character on the page. So it's not like you're like dying to do it, but sometimes you think of a great line and they definitely will let you give it a shot, and sometimes it makes it in. So that adds a little element of a wild card.
And as much as these sort of tight, great scripts you're getting, is there anything that you particularly look forward to when you're getting, when you open the script and go, oh, I'd really like to have a scene with this actor, or I'd really like to get my character to do this sort of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is and it's just going to sound like a trite answer, but, I feel like with Parks and Rec as well, those guys are so good at putting together an ensemble in which every character is likable, and all the characters in different combinations are fun to watch. I definitely think that Captain Holt and Gina are good foils to each other, and I think that, it actually makes sense that we would have certain bonds that, me and Andre have talked about off camera, of just things guys we might have agreed were hot, or songs we liked, but at the same time, we couldn't be at more opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of how we come across.
And about sort of your character, Gina, have I said it okay?
No, I love hearing how you say it. I just never heard that before.
Okay, well we got about Gina. What do you think the most interesting thing is about her as a character? Because she's got quite a few interesting things.
Well, I'm a person who's obsessed with fantasies, and I think that as a workplace comedy, I think that Gina gets to live out some people's fantasies of just telling your boss when they ask you to do something, no, I don't feel like it, or just being on your phone and playing a game right in front of your boss. Like, there's things that people actually do, the more minor things, and then some of the attitude and eccentricity that I think people suppress in the workplace, and she's able to live some of that out. And I would imagine, that would be satisfying kind of wish fulfillment to watch.
Has there been anything that surprised you about her character?
Well, I guess that she watched Downton Abbey. I don't know why. It seemed a little surprising. I'm trying to think what else. That's just the one that comes to mind, because Andre's character says I spoiled it for him on Twitter. And I was like, she watches Downton Abbey? Okay.
What show would you pegged her for?
Well, Love and Hip Hop. It's a reality show that we have. I don't know. Things like that, I think.
Yeah.
But I could see it. I could see her being super into that as well. She definitely has a flair for the dramatic.
What was in season 1 your favorite sort of scene to act out?
Well, it's funny because I really liked watching the dancing later in front of the street youth or whatever, but it was kind of stressful to dance in front of a bunch of young people. I did feel like a definite dork, but I did like watching it. I've actually had to dance a bunch of times that have wound up being cut. So it's been like hundreds of extras and cast members, and it's just like me dancing around take after take, and then they're like, yeah, we didn't use it. I'm like, so there's an element of fun to that, slash feeling a little slightly embarrassed. But I really did, I really did enjoy Andre being addicted to Quasi cupcakes. I loved that his character had this Achilles heel and that my character was on top of him about it because she'd been there too. I loved the Thanksgiving episode. It was genuinely really bonding with all the cast members just to be sitting around a table together, and it really conjured those feelings of Thanksgiving that just make you feel like a family. It was fun going off with Andy. We did go to elementary school together, so I liked that they put us in a story where we had, been school friends and local friends, and so that was fun to be on apartment hunting with him.
Yeah, well, that's interesting to hear that, like, sort of you and Andy have that connection, and your character and his character have that connection. Do you think that's something we might tap into a bit more going forward with the series?
Well, I would think so. I mean, the weird thing is I'm technically his landlord now, which to me seems very promising for comedy. I would assume that's going to rear its head again. There's, again, like, there's really no one in the cast. Yeah, I feel bad already now because I'm like, but I love working with, Melissa and Stephanie and the bond that the women in the office have had, and Terry. I mean, everyone, obviously, and I'm sure Charles. So, but yeah, we went to elementary school together, and, I used to have a crush on Andy and call his house and hang up and stuff like that. Mature young lady things that you do as a child.
Yeah. And I guess also thinking about sort of all these sorts of things, like, is there a character that you feel like you didn't get to do as much as you would have liked to this past season, and you think, oh, Gina and whoever don't get as much opportunities. I'd love to do more of them in season 2.
Honestly, I think, there was some hinting at me and Stephanie, Rosa, our characters, getting a little closer in some instances. I think that is a fun pairing. I think they're, again, characters who have more in common than you might realize. But I love the three of the women, having a bond. I think Terry and Gina, at the shooting range, that was a fun, weirdly flirtatious energy that she had with him, and I'm sure there's something cool there that could happen.
And just for the record, like, for that dancing scene, to You Are Beautiful, how long were you actually having to dance that day?
First of all, I can't believe that we got that song. Like, they were like, we're going to use this as a placeholder, and then it was what aired, and I was like, what? So that to me was a major coup. I danced a long time. I don't know the exact, minute count, but I feel like I did many takes. Let's just say I was sweaty and exhausted by the end. So it was elaborate.
Do you reckon there's any chance they asked you to do more takes than they needed?
It seems possible, considering there's now been twice that entire dance scenes have been cut. In fact, in the opening, you see this little dance that I'm doing. Well, that was from a scene that was cut in the copy room where I was, dancing in Charles's face. I was mad about a failure he had, and that was supposed to be in an earlier episode, but they felt like it made my character kind of unkind, too soon, I think.
I wonder if I wonder if that episode aired, and I can't remember what point that episode was. Before or after you won the Globe. I wonder if like winning the Globe gave the was able to help get that song locked down.
I wonder. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have the worst brain for those kinds of,
Yeah.
facts, but it
Mm.
seems like it would have helped.
Yeah. Well, we got a couple questions in the chat room from Nikki Ferrari. Nikki Ferrari 1, sorry. Will Variety Shack ever reunite, and who is your favorite comedian from the 70s or 80s?
70s or 80s. Variety Shack, very deep cut. This is a group that I did a live show with, a monthly live show in New York, and we always had a new short film that we would post. And they're all online still. Will they ever come back? I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think all those people are hilarious, and I hope that our lives intersect again. I don't know about Variety Shack as a entity, but it would be cool. And who was my favorite comedian in the 70s or 80s? I don't have like the most thorough knowledge of things. I think that what I remember was Eddie Murphy, but I was inspired a lot by movies. I loved The Holy Grail and Gilda Radner on SNL, and the things that inspired me with stand-up aren't always strictly stand-up. I just read Phyllis Diller's book, like a lampshade in a whorehouse, and it's really amazing. I recommend that if anyone's looking into historical comedians.
Now, on Brooklyn
Wait,
Nine-Nine...
I
Oh,
have to
yep,
say, I
yep.
forgot that Bill Hicks I love. And I think Bill Hicks is, his stand-up from that time, I think, is really amazing. Sorry.
No, that's okay, Chelsea. With Brooklyn Nine-Nine, do you guys have like a whole lot of fun on the set? Like, I can imagine Andy Samberg could get up to some trouble.
I feel like Andy is pretty well behaved. I think you have to be as the star of a show, but we definitely will do some joking around on set. We'll sing. There's frequent singing. He's from the Bay Area, so sometimes I'll just bust out a '90s R&B song from the Bay Area, and we'll just make funny faces. He doesn't wear his glasses, so he can't see fully, but he just make funny faces across the room. Melissa, I will go up to her and take photos of the back of her head. Like, I sneak up right behind her because her desk is in front of me, take a photo really close to her head, like very like stalkery, scary photo, and then I just text it to her once I'm back at my desk, and I'm just sitting there like... So we try to get each other like that. One time I went like I was gonna knock her coffee. She was holding coffee, and I guess this is Melissa again, but I went up to her and I was like this, like joking, and it actually hit it all over her wardrobe, and everyone was just like, "What are you doing?" That was a fail. Okay, that's on me. That's my bad. But yeah.
Oh, very good. Do you have any hopes or desires for season 2
No.
of Brooklyn? No?
No, I'm just kidding. Hopes or desires? Yes. I always have so many of both of those things. I think it would be fun to see some of Gina's personal life encroach upon the workplace, Like when I had my first job out of college, I used to photocopy stand-up comedy flyers that for some show I was doing at work, and I eventually got fired because I was a little off task. I just think that it would be fun if Gina had like a boyfriend or just a friend who just is sitting on her desk all the time, and people are like, "What are you doing? You can't just have your friends here," So I think that would be a fun dynamic. But I'm looking forward to seeing what happens to Jake undercover, and what's going to happen with Jake and Amy for sure, and me and Charles. There's a lot. These writers better be on it.
Yeah, don't rest on the first season, guys.
Yeah.
We want to see it, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're hard at work.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us today, Chelsea. All the best with the Emmys coming up. All the best with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I hope you guys just continue all your success at the Emmys.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
No worries.